Welcome everybody to my 5-part series on fitness. My goal with this series is not to give you a specific workout plan, but rather for you to understand the science behind each of these 5 fitness blocks. Today we're going to talk about strength training. For a lot of young men, strength training is particularly important for a number of reasons. The biggest is probably that having a fit and muscular body enhances your appearance. Looking ripped also significantly boosts your self-confidence, just like progressing week after week in the gym and being able to lift heavier than you were before. Not only benefits your body but also your personal development. So what exactly is strength? By definition, strength is the capacity of a person to overcome obstacles through conscious muscle contraction and to counteract external forces. Each person has a so-called maximum strength, which refers to the highest possible strength that you can exert against resistance during conscious muscle contraction. The amount of force you're able to exert differs from movement to movement. In eccentric movements, the maximum strength is much closer to the absolute strength compared to concentric movements. The factors that are responsible for the maximum strength include the cross-section of muscle fibers, the number of muscle fibers in the muscle elasticity, intramuscular coordination, intermuscular coordination, muscle length due to pre-stretch, and the joint angle. However, as most of you might probably know, motivation also plays a crucial role in determining the maximum strength. However, that does not represent the absolute highest force you're able to generate. In fact, there is a concept called the absolute strength, which is somewhat higher than the maximum strength. You might have heard of instances where someone in a life-threatening position was able to lift objects they should not be able to. For example, I once heard a story where a mother was able to lift the car of her baby after a car accident. That exactly is the difference between maximum strength and absolute strength. There is also what we call the explosive or speed strength. It is defined by the ability to develop a great force impulse in a short period of time. The muscle's fiber composition is especially important in explosive strength. Each muscle has fast and slow twitch muscle fibers, and as you might guess, the number of fast twitch muscle fibers significantly determines the amount of explosive strength the muscle is able to generate. Additionally, intramuscular coordination and joint angle also plays a crucial role. Then there's another concept called the reactive strength, which refers to the rapid and efficient transition from eccentric to concentric strength. This, for example, includes jumping, sprinting, and whip-like movements like punches and throws. Finally, there is strength endurance, which involves the ability to sustain a significant amount of force over a given time. By definition, the difference between regular cardiovascular endurance and strength endurance is that the resistance in strength endurance must exceed over 30% of the maximum strength. The composition of muscle fibers, effectiveness of energy supply, and specific movement techniques determine the amount of strength endurance. Now that we've defined what strength actually is, we'll talk about the fun part, and that's how to train for strength. First, let's talk about the reason you're actually becoming stronger. In the first period of strength training, the muscle pretty much remains the same, but more muscle fibers contract during the same exercise, allowing the same muscle to lift heavier loads. The muscle growth, or better known as the muscle hypertrophy, occurs only later in the training process. This is the reason why some of you might feel but not look stronger after a certain period of training. The neuronal adaptation of strength training, which occurs first, reaches its peak when you have fully exhausted your genetic potential. Afterwards, the improvement you get and your strength training goes hand in hand with muscle hypertrophy. So what's the best way to train for strength? Actually, that depends a lot on your goal. As I stated in the beginning, strength has a lot of different facets to it, and whether you want to increase your maximum strength output, improve your explosive strength, or simply look bigger, all differ in their approach. If you want to achieve the best muscle hypertrophy, you should train in your submaximal range. Depending on the exercise you're doing, the weight you're gonna lift differs. If you're doing an isometric exercise, you should aim for a muscle activation of 40 to 80 seconds per set at 30 to 40% of your maximum strength. If you're doing a dynamic exercise, perform 5 to 12 repetitions at 70 to 85% of the maximum strength per set, resulting in an activation time of approximately 15 to 30 seconds per set. No matter which exercise you're doing, aim for 1 to 3 sets with 1 to 3 minutes of rest in between and focus on concentric contraction part of the muscle. If you're aiming to improve your maximum strength, you should use the so-called neuronal activation method, which focuses on increasing the frequency with which the muscle fibers are activated. Dynamically train with a load of 90 to 100% of your maximum strength and perform 1 to 3 repetitions, but aim for 5, with an activation time of approximately 2 to 6 seconds per repetition. Perform 5 to 6 sets with a rest period of 5 minutes in between, and always train with the maximum force utilization. If your goal is to increase your explosive strength, you should obviously train explosively with a resistance level of about 45% of your maximum strength. Perform 5 sets with about 8 repetitions per set, with a resting period of 5 minutes in between sets. Finally, let's talk about muscle hypertrophy and how it works. Both exogenous and endogenous factors play a crucial role in hypertrophy. Exogenous factors include the mechanical tension, the amount of repetitions, the tension duration, the ATP consumption, and the regeneration time. Endogenous factors include things like the initiation of protein biosynthesis. What chemically happens in your body after hypertrophy strength training is what's called the mTOR signaling pathway. mTOR is a protein that triggers a whole cascade of things leading to hypertrophy. It is activated by hormones as well as muscle tension induced by strength training. The protein biosynthesis in trained muscles increase up to 72 hours after strength training and is significantly higher after food intake. It is important to note that strength training in a fasted state increases the protein biosynthesis, but it may also potentially lead to a greater protein breakdown while training. What's important to know for some people that wish to train multiple fitness areas at the same time is that in contrast to strength training, endurance training causes a reduction in glycogen concentration, which releases the hormone AMPK. This hormone indirectly inhibits the mTOR and consequently the protein biosynthesis. What eventually makes the muscle look bigger is the number of muscle fibers and the overall size of these fibers. Particularly the fast-twitch muscle fibers are responsible for muscle hypertrophy after strength training. That is why most people participating in sports that include explosive movements look muscular. Strength training is beneficial at any age, but the intensity of the workout must always be adjusted to the individual, so before heading to the gym and trying to lift the heaviest weight possible, maybe consult with your local fitness trainer. I hope that now you have a better understanding of the theory behind strength and strength training. If you're interested in how this theory could look in practice, or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.